working on our final section here, okay? And this is 2.4, which is writing equations. Okay, so I like to do this section because writing equations fits right, right into graphing them. So if we can write equations using y is equal to mx plus b, which we already know, it's going to be pretty easy, okay? So a couple things to start out with. So I'm going to kind of divide my paper so you can hit the main points, okay? So here we go. How do you write an equation if you are given the slope and the y-intercept? You're like, seriously? That's pretty easy. So I know that m is my slope. I know that b is my y-intercept. I literally just plug it in. Y is equal to 2x plus 5. Done. Now you do. Slope is -3 halves, and my y-intercept is -4. Now you try. Y equals -3 halves x minus 4. Or you could put a plus a -4. Okay, so I'm going to put a dot right here because that's going to tell me, hey, I got the first one done. Okay, what do you do if you're not given the slope and you're given 2 points on the line? Well, that's, yeah, let's do 2 points on the line. So 2, -4, and 7, 6, okay? So this takes a little bit more work. So I have to find my slope. Well, that's easy. I can do that. You know how to do that. x2, y2, okay? So 6 minus a -4 all over 7 minus 2. Okay, and that becomes 10 over 5. Now, should I reduce that? Yeah, you should. It's 2. That is my slope. Now, what do I need? I need my y-intercept, okay? So double check to make sure that you're not given the y-intercept up here. The y-intercept is going to be a 0 number. Remember, because the y-intercept goes on the y-axis. So, oh, sad face. So here's the thing. This is super easy. We are not using a different formula. We're not going to use point slope form. We're going to use the same formula that you've known all the time. Y is equal to mx plus b. So here's the thing. I need you to pick one of these points. So which point would you like to use? Well, I'm hoping you picked that one because it's all positives. So I think that's pretty easy. So here we go. Here's your x, here's your y, and here's your slope, which is the m part. You have everything you need to plug into mx plus b, except the b, which is what we're trying to find. So the y goes in for the y. The m goes in for the m. Remember that m and x are held together by multiplication. And the 7 goes in for the x. See how they're all lined up? You have everything you need. All we got to do is solve for b. So 6 equals 2 times 7 is 14 plus b. Subtract 14 on each side. And b equals -8. And friends, you just found your y-intercept. So don't forget to write your final equation. My slope was 2, and my y-intercept is a -8. That's it, okay? We don't use point slope form because why learn another equation? You don't have to do that, okay? All right, your turn. I'm going to give you one with some negatives here. Remember, you can stop the video and you can try it on your own, and you're going to have some questions anyway. Go ahead and label. -2 minus 5 all over 6 minus a negative 3. All right, this turns out, let's see, plus plus. This is a negative 7 over 9. That's a yucky slope. That's my m, so label it. All right, well, friends, I'm not really sure which one to, really doesn't matter. Let's do this one instead, okay? Doesn't really matter, you're going to come out with the same thing, but I hope you have your calculator. All right, y is equal to mx plus b. All right, where's my y? My y's right there. Who's my m? Oh yeah, negative 7/9. Who's my x? Oop, right there. I'm going to put this in parentheses so that you're not thinking it's subtraction. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to take my handy dandy calculator, and I'm actually going to calculate negative 7/9 times negative 3. Okay, and I get 2.33. Now, you can leave it as a decimal, not a big deal. So I'm going to leave it positive 2.33 plus b. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 2.33 on each side. Okay, so 5 minus 2.33 repeating gives me 2.67 equals b. Okay, oh well, not a big deal. Okay, so y equals my slope, don't forget the x, plus 2.67. And I know one is a fraction and one is a decimal, and that might look really weird, but that's okay, because you're going to need this as a decimal anyway to be able to graph it, and then leave this as a fraction because it's easy to move up and over. Okay? That's it, friends. That was the hardest part. Okay? So now what we want to do is practice our parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay? So I'm going to give you a line, okay? Okay, this is the line. And I want you to write me an equation that is parallel to that line and perpendicular to that line. And it goes through the point 4, 5. And I'm going to keep this one as 4, 5. Why not? Okay, we'll see if that works out. Okay, so the first thing is, if I'm talking parallel, first of all, what is the slope of this line? Well, that's easy. The slope is 3. Okay, what do you know about a parallel line? The slopes have to be the same. So right away, I'm going to write down that my slope to my parallel line is 3. Now, friends, once you've taken the slope, okay, you don't need this line anymore. So I'm going to cover him up. Okay, get rid of it. Because now here are the two pieces that I need. Okay, here's my x and here's my y. Right? So here we go. Y is equal to mx plus b. All right, the 5 goes in for the y. My m is 3. My x is 4 plus b. 5 equals 12 plus b. Subtract 12, and b is a negative 7. So my parallel line is y equals, what's my slope? 3x minus 7. That's pretty easy, right? You just took what you needed. So it's the same. Okay, now if I want to do perpendicular, that's a little bit different. That is the negative reciprocal. So let's go back to my slope. My slope is 3, right? Well, my new slope, right away, if this is positive, this needs to be negative. And what is this number over? Well, friends, it's always over 1, right? So flip that. What does 3 over 1 become? Well, that's easy. Becomes 1/3. That's my new slope. Okay? And I'm not necessarily going to highlight that in the same color because it's not the same slope. So I'll kind of highlight it here. But I want you to see that this is the negative or opposite. How about I don't use the word negative? Opposite reciprocal. Okay? Opposite reciprocal. I hope I was within the view. I'm sorry if I wasn't. Again, so I took the same slope and I plugged it in for M or Y, M, X, and the B and solved it. Let's do the same thing over here. Y is equal to mx plus b. Here's my x, here's my y. So here we go. 5 equals negative 1/3 times 4 plus b. Okay, well that's not a big deal. Negative 1/3 times 4 is negative 4/3 or negative 1.33 repeating. And you can do either one if you want. I'm going to add that to each side. So I probably want to put that as a decimal, don't I? So let's see. 5 plus 4/3 gives you 6.33 repeating. So my answer is my new slope was negative 1/3 x plus 6.33. Notice again that all we took from this equation was the 3 part. We didn't care about the 7. Notice, oh, it's the same line. Huh, this line must have went through 4, 5. Go figure. How weird is that? It actually went through the same line. I didn't even guess. I just pulled 4, 5 out of my head. Unfortunately, this guy, this is going to run through 4, 5, but it's a little bit different. But it's going to end up like, you know, this is going to run in the negative direction. This is running in the positive direction. Okay? All right, that's it, folks. We're not memorizing a new equation. We're using y is equal to mx plus b. Just need to stay organized. You've got this.